Welcome to Reboot with Dr. Arasi Maran. I'm your host, Dr. Arasi Maran. I'm a board certified interventional cardiologist who's been in practice for more than a decade. But this initiative of this podcast is to bring evidence based health to anyone who wants to improve their health and fitness. I have with me today Mrs. Ayushi Srisrimal. She is the CEO of the company Ever Health, and she has a beautiful story to talk about how she got into gut health, what were her personal problems which made her get into this side of business. Without further ado, Ayushi, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's so lovely to be here with you. It's so good to be here on the show. I'm looking forward to have a chat with you.
Ayushi, you're pretty young to start your own company. So when someone so young does something like starting their own company, there's usually a big inciting factor, something which was bothering them, which pushed them to do this and take this on. So what's your story?
A few years ago, I've been going through a lot of digestive issues like bloating, constipation, and things like my hair was falling. I had like a lot of hair fall. And that's when I realized that something is wrong and
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to fix it. And I started exploring options, figuring out what can I do, how do I get to the root cause of it. And that got me to dive into this journey.
So you said, you were going through a lot of health issues,
Yeah.
right? But usually, as a young person, how it's you did you go to a bunch of doctors? Did you get a bunch different diagnoses?
I did go to a couple of doctors, but I was prescribed, everything that I was prescribed was just medicines that gave me only a temporary solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that it's not a sustainable way of following things. And that's when I wanted to get into the crux of it, and I slowly started uh, working out. I slowly started integrating my exercises regularly. I
Mm-hmm.
slowly started um, eating healthy, but also slowly it's bio individuality. Like what may suit you may not suit me.
Absolutely.
So I started figuring out that gluten was becoming a problem for me. So I
Mm.
started cutting off gluten, and then I realized, okay, I'm consuming a lot of sugar. So I started cutting my sugar intake, and then I just basically taking small steps at a time. And it's not about perfection. It's about
Progress,
progress.
absolutely. Actually, I have to say, I'm very impressed that you decided to kind of take this on because most people are very comfortable getting a bunch of pills and thinks that pills will fix it. Yes, I'm a complete allopathic doctor and I prescribe medications, but pills alone is never the solution. Pills,
Yeah.
along with better eating and trying to figure out your
Figure
own
out.
problem.
Yeah.
I like the term you used, bio individuality. What works for me may not work for you and may not work for the other person. So, kind of taking time and space and energy to look into your own problems and dissecting it,
Yeah.
truly that works. And I kind of feel people are little maybe have this fear of doing it, like as to what if you open that Pandora's box and what am I going to find? And
Yeah.
that might be a little
So
bit
I
too
think a
much.
lot of people were, including me, we were all ignoring our gut health. Like, these symptoms that we felt, like your constipation, your bloating, was very normal for everyone. Because I was talking to a lot of people, family, friends around me, and everybody was silently going through this issue and nobody was doing anything about it. So this is why I want to start educating people of why gut health is so important, because
Yes.
it's the root cause for everything. It influences your mood, your energy, your sleep, your immunity, literally everything.
It's funny you say that we all are dependent on a microbiome, right? The amount of bacteria and the bacterial cells in our body outnumbers our human cells itself. So it is the microbiome, which is us more than us thinking the
Yeah,
microbiome.
yeah.
So our literally we eat, we feel hungry because our microbiome wants XYZ nutrient. We get angry because the microbiome is secreting things
Absolutely.
to, change our moods and everything. We are truly what our microbiome is. And sometimes we think, oh, I'm craving sugar. You're not craving sugar.
It's the
Your
microbiome.
microbiome, which is craving sugar
Yeah.
and is sending signals to the brain so that the brain sends out signals. So it's such a beautiful, vicious loop. We think about the a relationship that we are so intricately connected to our gut, and we ignore it. We completely ignore it, and I think it sometimes dehumanizes us. Oh, am I just a reflection of your the microbes in the gut? Yes, you are. So how did, yes, you figured out it was your gut, etc. What did you do next?
So, like I eliminated the kind of foods that wasn't suiting me. Like I said, gluten is something that I was allergic to. I was seeing a lot of hair fall issues, and I was going through IBS as well. I
Mm.
couldn't figure out, okay, whether it's because of the food intake, or is it because of stress, or is it because of lack of sleep.
So you discover that you have IBS. Honestly, for the audience, I would strongly recommend going back to episode 20 with Dr. Shripal Ketu, where we discuss all things IBS related and gut microbiome related. Well, episode 20 gives you the doctor's perspective. Ayushi is going to give her personal story. I think both of these episodes will be a good completion story almost as well. So then you kind of went into an elimination diet. So you
Yeah,
eliminated all things gluten and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
How long did it take for you to feel better or feel notice a
So
difference?
I started very slow. I didn't want to rush into making changes altogether at once. And these are all lifestyle changes. These are not something that you just do it for like a couple of days and forget about it.
Hmm.
And I felt it took a while, because it got quite overwhelming for me to do follow this follow like a particular thing on a daily basis. But you know what, like, slowly integrate these things seamlessly into your daily routine. And once you start seeing results, say about if you're consistent with your practices, I think in the next 2 3 months you'll start seeing changes.
Yeah, fantastic. So what was the give me the first day when you thought, oh my God, this is so overwhelming.
I was looking for options, like, how do I fix my gut? Okay, I have a problem with my gut. How do I fix that? I have a problem with my skin. How do I fix that? So everything was interconnected, and that got me thinking that the main issue is the gut.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
The,
And what was the next part of the journey? Once you realized it's all coming from the gut, and you cleaned up your diet, you cleaned up the routine. How did you get into Ever Health?
I saw a lot of people going through these issues, and I wanted to help them, and that's what got me to start Ever Health. And I want to educate more people on how gut is the main root cause for everything, and slowly start working on that, because if your gut is happy, you are happy, you're unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely true, right? I, from the cardiology side, see a lot of patients who honestly are having gut issues, but think they are having a heart
Yeah.
issue. The biggest problem with irritable bowel syndrome is you eat and randomly 1 hour later or 2 hour later, you get severe abdominal pains. And sometimes we have what is called a referred pain. The pain is in your gut, but it gets referred to your chest, and your heart starts beating fast, and then you start sweating. And patients are thinking, young patients most of the time in their 20s and 30s, etc., they come to the emergency room thinking they're having a heart attack, or they come to the clinic and they're thinking they're having a heart attack. And most of the time, right, they go to the emergency room, they're not having a heart attack, they get patted on the back, oh, this is just anxiety, go. And then, but they are suffering. They are suffering. They've gone to a healthcare provider, but they're not getting the results they want. And they by the time they come to a cardiologist clinic, they are desperate. They start crying in the clinic, like, please, and when you are having those symptoms, there is a fear of death. There's an impending sense of doom. Something is not right with themselves. It's really very heartbreaking to see it. And then you kind of explain to them that the gut is not reacting to what they are eating, and they have to kind of follow an elimination diet and then slowly add things which are good for them or which their gut is not reacting, and it gets better. Some people take it and they are relieved. Okay, it's not my heart. I'm not going to die. Some people get very annoyed
Yeah.
because I'm not giving them a quick fix. I'm not taking them to the cath lab and fixing a blockage or something like that. So I have both sides of the story. Aishi, I've said in multiple podcasts too, I'm not a very supplement heavy person, right? I'm a very minimalistic person when it comes to supplements, and I am an advocate that we should eat more real foods and more foods rich in probiotics and prebiotics, etc. But here I am interviewing a CEO of a company which is producing probiotic supplements. So tell me a little bit of a supplement and why should I even think it's a great one?
So in this age and time, we're constantly trying to look for quick fixes and temporary solutions, but that's not sustainable for healthy well-being. So when I started researching, I came across these are like the probiotic strains that help you enhance your gut and fix it. So, supplements alone are not going to be enough. You need to make lifestyle changes, move, exercise regularly, eat healthy.
Absolutely. That's the other problem, right? The supplement world is truly a massive industry, and you really have to be very careful about the supplements you take. And, my biggest problem with probiotic supplements is how do they even cross the stomach to get into the gut? So, just for the audience, let me briefly go into the science bit of it. The stomach produces lots of acid so that it can break down the food, etc. It breaks down the food and sends it into the small intestine. And the small intestine onwards is where the gut flora comes. And small intestine and large intestine is where most of your microbiome lives. Okay. How does your supplement, get past the stomach acid?
So we've introduced something called microbac technology in Everhealth.
Okay, so that's a very impressive technology, right? The microbag technology is where the strains of the bacterium, the probiotic strains, are coated with lipid, which is basically fat, soluble fat, which is able to save the strains from the stomach acid and delivers the strain to the small intestine, and then it kind of uncovers itself, and the probiotic strain populates the gut itself. That's a very impressive technology. So, what all strains of probiotics are you using at Everhealth?
So we have probiotic strains like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Saccharomyces boulardii, and prebiotics we have inulin, we have peppermint extract.
Okay. I kind of remember seeing it comes in 3 different formulations,
Yeah,
right?
so depending on the issues you are facing, uh, like constipation, bloating, or for your weight loss.
We are in a world of GLP-1 inhibitors. You have the right kind of gut bacteria, it kind of acts like a natural GLP-1 itself and reduces your appetite, etc., things like that. So I am kind of not too surprised that you have one for weight loss and stuff like that. But once again, I think the key here, which I want to reiterate, just taking a supplement is not a magic pill. The supplementation needs to be aligned with good healthy eating habits such as real food, cutting down high sugar foods and high carb foods, and kind of consuming a lot of good fiber and prebiotic foods, etc. Since I'm like a naturalist and stuff like that, I've always loved use of chia seeds as a fiber supplement. Kimchi, all the Korean restaurants, they make such good kimchi. Just have to make sure it's without sugar.
Yeah.
Sometimes they add sugar and completely takes away away the goodness of the kimchi itself. Sauerkraut, that's a great natural probiotic too. Of course, in Asian cultures, we have the buttermilk and yogurt, but sometimes a lot of people who have irritable bowel syndrome or IBS have lactose intolerance, and then when they drink dairy products, they kind of end up with lots of bloating and etc. And it just makes a big difference. So yeah, it has been it's a addition, but as you would agree with me, it's not the magic pill.
Yeah.
When do you take the supplement? Do you take it after food, before food? How would you recommend people taking it?
So for if you're going through constipation, you just they come in the form of sachets. You just tear it open, put it in water first, and drink it first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And for bloating, it comes in the form of stick. You just tear it open and directly put it in your mouth. It's an oral soluble supplement.
Oh, okay.
And for weight loss, you usually have it after a meal.
Okay.
Anytime, no, after a meal, once a day, after any meal, preferably lunch or dinner.
Interesting. So if I'm just getting this right, if you are struggling with constipation or bloating, it is as needed, whereas the weight loss supplement is more of an everyday thing.
Bloating is something that a normal person would also have it, either because of a lot of excess protein intake or because of unprocessed food. It's like a reliable buddy who is looking out for you every day, even when you're not paying attention.
Perfect. That's nice. So, with yourself, tell me the other lifestyle incorporations. Did you change your workout or did you inculcate workout?
Yeah, I started integrating strength training, and I started doing a little bit of yoga, a lot of breathing exercises that started that made me feel calmer, and good sleep, like going to sleep at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are such beautiful. I mean, it's so good to hear that you actually walked the walk and just not talk the talk. Because when you have something like irritable bowel syndrome, it is impossible. There's no one good medicine or no one good solution. And the solution comes from head to toe, calming your mind, making sure you get good sleep, maintaining a food diary and seeing which food is causing you to be bloated, the right kind of supplements to kind of help you or aid you with it, and exercise. And I think in this podcast I have said over and over again the importance of strength training and the importance of exercising 4 to 6 days a week or something. And so I'm glad you able to follow all through this.
Strength training or doing yoga, it can be anything that you like. It can be a run at the beach, or it can be like playing a sport, anything, but just do it consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's ask some fun questions here. What is your go-to healthy snack?
Nuts, makana.
Okay, interesting. Morning workout or evening workout? What's your preference?
Morning workout, any day.
Okay. So if you have to choose running or strength training?
Strength training.
So what is your health goal for 2025?
I want to start having plant-based food because I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, okay. That's really good. Okay. I'm a complete non-vegetarian person. I eat fiber. I mean, I eat my spinach and blah, blah, blah. But I'm always very interested to learn more about people who are on a plant-based diet. Okay. Even as a non-vegetarian, for me to get my, the required protein, I struggle. How are you managing to get your protein in a plant-based diet?
In the form of tofu, edamame.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
A lot of coconut chunks. I mean, coconut chunks do give a little bit of protein. I don't know. I think so because that's what I've been told.
Okay.
To have first thing in the morning. A lot of millets in the diet.
Millets. Okay. What was the one thing you had to eliminate? Was it just gluten for you to feel better?
It was mainly just gluten.
Just for everyone, it's not that all wheat is bad, but it depends upon the type of wheat and where it is sourced from. And currently, the wheat packets which are available commercially are so super hyper processed that it really breaks down to giving rise to gluten. And if you can can really source some super organic, some small farm based, and you know where the source is, you could potentially try it. But there are people who just cannot tolerate
gluten.
gluten at all, and
Yeah.
so just have to be uh, kind of self-evaluate how bad are your symptoms and is it worthwhile eliminating, and always talk to your nutrition, your healthcare provider, about reintroducing once you have eliminated a certain kind of a food. That's, I think,
Absolutely.
important to know about.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So, when we started, Ayush, you were telling me that you wanted to ask me some questions. Do you have some
Yes.
questions?
Yes. So, what are the three lifestyle changes you would recommend people who are in their 20s and 30s?
Okay. In the people who are in the 20s, I think the most important thing is don't get into something stupid and bad, which hooks you and messes you up for the 30s. So for the 20s, please don't start smoking or please don't vape because it's such a, if there's one thing as a cardiologist I would strongly recommend against not doing is smoking or vaping in any form. So don't start. And if you are smoking, try and stop smoking and be done with it as soon as possible. I think that's the number one thing. And number two, start exercising. When patients come in their 50s and 60s and 70s, it's too late for them to incorporate, or I won't say it's too late, they find it extremely hard to incorporate exercising as a daily habit. But if you start in your 20s, that, it's a priority, that every day you go for it becomes like brushing your teeth. You don't think
Yeah.
about it. You get up, brush your teeth, go exercise. It's part of your lifestyle. You don't have to think twice about it in your 30s and 40s.
It's like a happy pill, I believe. Like,
Absolutely.
you're exercising regularly. It also helps you with your mood.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
instantly changes your mood.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the most underutilized antidepressant or the most underutilized mood enhancer. Like, it's the simplest thing. It's under your control, but we need to prioritize it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you have to be like, no, I'm not coming out because I haven't done my exercise. Oh no, I'm going to sleep early because I have to wake up early. So it has to be like that kind of a
Yeah.
prioritization, and that's where we all lack. And in all honesty, women are worse than this than men. Men somehow, it is easier for them, or they prioritize, or they finish work and go to the gym and then come back home. But whereas women, who are most of the time caretakers of the home front, also finish work and rush back to the home to get ready for dinner or take care of the kids or something like that. So they are the ones who struggle a little bit more. And I find more women who are not incorporated exercise at all. And it's such a strange concept in their 60s. Like, what? I
Yeah.
have to go exercise? I'm like, yeah, it is important for
And a
you.
lot of people, actually, a lot of Indians, say our parents or our forefathers, they never incorporated strength training. And I see that a lot of them now who are in their 50s have a lot of knee pain. They are not
Yes.
able to carry anything.
Yes.
And, we're not focusing on the strength
Absolutely.
right
It's
now.
very well said. In the past, our lifestyles were also different, right? We used to actually grind our flour and do all kinds of roll the rotis or whatever. So we were incorporating strength training in our day-to-day lifestyle. But now this is all full mechanized. It's all
Yeah.
push of a button
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We're all so much more lackadaisical about the amount. Imagine American Heart Association in the past told us that we need to take 10,000 steps for healthy living. They realized it was such an unattainable goal. They gave up and said, okay, at least take 5,000
1,000
steps.
steps.
We are reducing our standards even though we are getting more unhealthier. Strength training is so essential for a woman uh, in all stages of the life. Before pregnancy, you need to be strong. During pregnancy, you need to be exercising. Post delivery, you need to get back to
Yeah.
exercising to get your muscle strength back. Perimenopause, postmenopause, we are losing muscle. We have to build our muscle. Our longevity, our sense of purpose, everything in my opinion, is directly proportional to your muscle mass.
Absolutely.
So I know longevity is the new buzzword in medicine right now. I just think it's prevention, old wine of prevention in a new bottle of longevity. Hey, whatever sells good health is fine for me. But nevertheless, I think building your muscle is the ultimate key.
So, how do individuals with a family history focus on maintaining their heart health and gut health, and how are they interconnected?
That's a beautiful question. I mean, I can talk about this for hours, but let's break it down, okay? So, people with known family history of heart disease, that is a very common population, especially in Southeast Asia. It's a big bulk, okay? Almost 75 to 85% of us have a first degree relative who has history of heart disease. If you know that, then your first cholesterol check should be at the age of 20. And if that is normal, you can check your blood cholesterol levels every 5 years. Okay. But once you hit 30 to 35, you need to start checking it every year. Okay. So it's very important to keep that in mind. So if you are a 35-year-old and you've never had your blood checked, it's time to make an appointment with your healthcare provider and get a fasting lipid profile to see where your cholesterol is. That's number one. Along with it, you also need to, when you go to the doctor, get your blood pressure checked. Blood pressure or high blood pressure is a very silent killer. You don't realize it, you don't feel it, but you could be struggling with it. And your body is putting up an internal fight. And when the body is putting up with an internal fight, there's a lot of inflammation happening. And it can be directly related to the gut itself because it's what we eat. Like, if you're having 5 cups of coffee per day to get through the day, you're not sleeping at night, or you're just sitting and working, staring at a screen till 11 p.m. or 12 a.m., 1 a.m., getting up in the morning and just Red Bull and coffee and energy drinks, all of that is directly going to, not even indirectly, directly going to affect your heart health in the form of either high blood pressure. And if your adrenaline or your cortisol, your fight flight hormone is constantly high, your cholesterol levels are, your liver is going to release cholesterol to churn for energy, and then you're going to end up with high cholesterol levels. And all of this will just put you into pre-diabetes and diabetes, which again affects the heart. And that's why right now, I just came back from a conference in Delhi, and people all across India were presenting their heart cases. They were showing 35-year-olds, 32-year-olds, 41-year-olds with terrible looking blood vessels of the heart. And that's all boiling down to our diet, the way we are processing stress,
Yeah.
and not taking care of ourselves.
Can you talk more about the gut heart connection?
So the gut heart connection, it's not like, everyone thinks the gut heart connection, the heart is directly connected to the heart thing. So this is the way I look at the heart, okay? The heart is a cheerleader, okay? The gut runs in front of the heart and below the heart, etc. A foot pipe is just behind the heart, right? So if something is going on in the gut, the heart is going to react to it. And that could be in the form of really fast heartbeats or irregular heartbeats or spasms of the blood vessels of the heart. If the gut is behaving itself and getting what nutrients it needs, the heart is going to be like, okay, I'm fine, I'm going to just relax. But if the gut is going to have a lot of action, like, a lot of mischief happening, the heart is going to be like reacting to it. So this is a very simplistic connection. But most of, as I said, we are living for the sustenance of our microbiome. And if we don't have the right balance of microbiome, then we are going to end up with all kinds of diseases, which includes diabetes, high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation. Everything is related to our gut health. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Dr. Maran, now let me ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Does intermittent fasting help with gut health and heart health? How are they connected?
Okay,
Interconnected?
that's actually a great question. So there's a good to intermittent fasting and there's a bad to intermittent fasting, and we are getting more and more information as we go along. So let me start with the good part and then we'll go on. The good part is when you do fast, okay, for more than 12 up to 16 to 80 hours, all the redundant bacteria dies. That is the bacteria which is not essential and which cannot, which is basically the sugar dependent bacteria, they die because you're not getting any high sugar levels throughout the fasting time. So the extra, the unnecessary bacteria die. So the thriving bacteria, the stronger strains of bacteria, they tend to live. So that is the good part of it. And truly, your body needs that rest time. Your liver has enough stored energy for 12 hours. So when you fast for 12 to 18 hours, you're using a lot of the stored glycogen around your liver, and basically you're cleansing your liver. So that is the good part of intermittent fasting. And then a third thing which happens is your stomach size shrinks. If you're constantly eating, your stomach size gets bigger and bigger, and it takes you longer to feel satiated. But when your stomach size shrinks, small amounts of meals will satiate you, and you get the feeling of, oh, I've eaten enough, and overall leads you to consume less calories. Now, let's come to the flip side of it, the bad side of it. If you don't have the mind body gut connection, you are waiting for that 4 p.m. to come to break your fast. And the moment you break your fast from 4, whether you have a 4 hour eating window or a 2 hour, whatever your window time is, you are just like, your eyes are bigger than your mouth, and you're just eating whatever you want. You're eating high calorie dense food in a short amount, and you end up eating this super ultra processed sugars like cookies, cakes, pizza, sandwiches. Then you are completely destroying your gut health, and that can actually worsen your overall health than help you. So if you are doing intermittent fasting, and or you're doing one meal a day, that one meal has to be a very meaningful meal. Okay, so it needs to be a meal healthy in protein, healthy, lots of fiber, lots of good fats, lots of good probiotic foods, nuts, etc., and not be these easily digestible carbohydrate rich foods which is going to run through your gut. And that's a sure way to get irritable bowel syndrome, sure way to get diabetic or pre-diabetic and mess up your gut. And that's why some of the studies were completely messed up and actually showed that intermittent fasting causes increase in heart disease. I think that is only because of not controlling what you eat during
I'm
that.
not consuming the right food
Yes.
at the time.
So intermittent fasting is like a nuclear weapon. It can be, the nuclear energy can be used constructively, or it can be used destructively. So it is depends on the person who's wielding the intermittent fasting.
So, can high blood pressure be reversed?
Yes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugars are all three reversible disease. Okay, there are some one set of population where it can be extremely difficult to reverse, but in general, majority of the time, these three diseases are caused by poor lifestyle. So if you are overweight, which is the most common cause of high blood pressure, losing up to 10% of your body weight can reverse your blood pressure, can reverse your cholesterol, and also your blood sugar. But it's difficult. So the first line of treatment, the guidelines say, when a patient comes to me and I'm diagnosing them with high blood pressure, that is, the blood pressure is above 130 over 90 millimeters of mercury, the first 3 months it's lifestyle changes. But the problem is the patient now thinks, when they come to a doctor, they think like a consumer and they want a quick fix, and the doctors feel compelled, or they don't come back. They go doctor shopping till they find a doctor who throws pills at them, instead of a doctor who actually says, you need to change your lifestyle, come back and see me in 3 months, let's see where they are. That becomes an unpopular solution for patients, but that is the right solution for patients. So your short answer is yes, it can be reversed
Yes, it can be reversed.
with
Got
hard
it.
work and
Yeah,
persistence.
amazing.
All right. So, Ayushi, I think
Yeah.
we've had a lot of conversation and a lot of interesting things, and I truly want to thank you for being honest and telling us your story and your struggles with irritable bowel syndrome. And I'm also, it is very inspiring that you used something negative which happened in your life and turned it positive and did your research. And now you have your own company, EverHealth. And good luck with your product release. I wish you all the best and all the
Thank you.
success.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to be here with you and have a chat. And I'm truly honored and privileged to have you.
No, it's my pleasure. Well, folks, thank you all. I hope you have learned more about the importance of your gut health and the ways you can fix your own gut and how you have to be your own advocate when you have problems which are not fixing instead of just, dumping your body with random pills. So, till then, until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep coming back to us for evidence based science. With that, goodbye. Thank you so much for listening. If you found us valuable, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast app. And also, please consider leaving us a rating or a review, as that helps others find the podcast too. I hope you have a great week ahead.